Welcome. We're here today. I'm Lori.
And hi, I'm Tricia.
And we're here to talk about yes, the concept, the energy of yes. And the reason why we wanted to talk about this was that, as we talk about the year and our intentions for the year, we're still kind of in the January energy of starting something new and putting out our intentions. And we talked about realizing it's done, but also the energy of yes. And I had mentioned to Tricia that I was listening to Carolyn Miss, who was doing a podcast, and somebody asked her, what is her definition of love? And Carolyn said, I don't have one. And then she launched into a lot of discussion about energy. And as I felt in, the answer I got to what the definition of love is yes. And I was like, wow, yes. The answer, and when I was growing up, I thought when I prayed, quote unquote, prayed, the answer was no, you don't deserve it, or not now, not yet. But in the new understanding of energy and Tantra, my new understanding of of energy is the answer is always yes. Yes to whatever you say you want to create. There is no judgment. There is only yes. And Tricia, I wanted to get your take on what you're, of course, feeling about the energy of yes, and of course, from Tantra's perspective.
Well, one of my teachers, Pandit Rajmani Tiganaya, who's the spiritual head of the Himalayan Institute, he speaks often about that idea that we are so loved all the time, and that the gods and goddesses will do anything to give us what we pray for, and everything they can do to allow us what we pray for. And we just, again, we see ourselves with judgment or something to prove, or there's this work we have to do before. But he speaks often about that it's right, it's there, that we are loved beyond what we can even understand. And he frequently refers to it as, think of a mother and how you love your child. And that's how much you're loved all the time. So Tantra is, energy follows attention. So where you put your attention is what you're creating. So be mindful, keep remembering how much you're loved. Keep remembering how much you love, and know that that's coming at you 100 times.
Right. And that energy of love. And I think this is why Carolyn Miss said, I don't have a definition. And I think it's because we've mixed the word love up with so much different stuff. I mean, humans have got all kinds of crazy notions of it, including me. But that energy of pure potentiality, which is, really the energy that is the clay of life that we get to mold. And and when you combine that felt sense of I can do anything, and that, of course, the answer is yes, you take that energy and you do whatever you want with it. I think that is true love. It's true respect. It's true. I'm not going to decide for you. You decide. You are the decider because you're the power creator of your life. And I think that's one of the most beautiful aspects of love we could ever give each other is, I trust you so much. Yes, of course. If that's what you say you want, that's what I want for you.
And I think it's a tough one for us to really get a grip of, because again, it's like that thing about non-dual. Once I try to explain or qualify non-dualism, it becomes dualistic.
Right, totally.
So,
yeah,
right.
As soon as I start thinking about it, it's on off. Yes, no, right? Yeah.
Right. So so even saying I'm loved beyond measure and there is no limit to this love, just talking about it that way automatically
Right.
starts to
Well,
put a
then there's
limit
not
on it.
love, and who's not loving me, and why, right. Yes, it's fascinating how sneaky how sneaky the mind is, and it's of course trying to protect us, but it also can separate, create the illusion of separateness.
Yes, and it does that often.
Yeah, right. Well, if you're not separate, you don't need me. No, I do. I need you, mind. I need you to support me, molding the clay of life, not getting in the way with your worries and doubts and fears.
Right. Yeah, get me up in the morning and out the door, but then give me a
Right.
break when I come. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
You know how to
Right.
make a good cup of coffee, but you really don't know how to mold the energy of the clay. Well, and I kind of, it's interesting because I do think when we work with Tantra, and I've taken a lot of your amazing classes, and I consider you one of the premier Tantra energy yoga teachers around, and I'm grateful to work with you. And so, I do think that we get caught, and I wanted to migrate a little bit away from the concept of love, only because our minds have a pre-definition on unconscious understanding. But from a tantric perspective and from a yogic perspective, that energy is always available and it's unmolded until we put our attention on it. And I feel like we need to deep dive a little bit more into this concept of energy and how it does get molded by us, and it is always saying yes. And I almost shouldn't even say it's saying yes. There's no yes, there's no saying it. If you want it, it feels like a yes, not there's something out there deciding on the yes. Do you know what do you remember? Do you feel the difference there?
Yes, absolutely. I know what you're saying. Right. It's not like there's a decider for us
Right.
of right where our energy is going to go and what we're going to create.
Right. There's no
Again,
cosmic
we're
Santa Claus out there going, okay, Lord, okay. Oh, no, no, no.
right.
It's you're the decider.
Right. Again, it comes back to this conscious creating. Um, and that we're not always conscious of what we're creating.
Right,
A
right,
lot of times we're giving a lot of energy and attention to what we don't want. And because of that, we're creating it over and over again. In Sanskrit, there's a word for that. It's called vikalpa. And it's, I keep having the same situation happen to me over and over again. I keep learning this same lesson, only I'm not learning it because I keep repeating it. And so in Tantra, the question is, well, you're getting something out of it, or you wouldn't keep repeating the same actions over and over again to have the same lesson. So you got to stop and figure out what you're getting out of it and then make the decision again, is that where you want your energy and attention to go? And if not, you can let go of it. So again, it comes back to, I'm the decider. I'm saying yes to something or no to something, or let's hit repeat, play back over and over again. But
right.
it's me deciding that, right? It's me putting my time and energy into that happening. So it's really important, if you're not having a feeling of experiencing yes, like yes, I really love what's coming into my life and where my energy is going, then you need to take an honest look at that too. And part of that, I will say too, has for me has been the ability to let go of deciding that things that I'm not happy that are happening to me are a result of some kind of punishment. Like
Oh, good
I'm
one.
being
Yeah.
punished for something, or there's a lesson I'm not getting, and so I'm keep being hit. And that's an important thing to pay attention to, again, because we are conscious creators, so we are creating. And that's not to say, you know, shit doesn't happen. Like your car can break down, or your hot water heater can go out and stuff like that. But But it's not the universe punishing you for anything. Again, it's important to come back to and ask yourself the question, like, what's a lesson I'm tired of learning?
Or what energy did I even put myself in? What energy vibration was I in that, aligned me in that way? Because I maybe we should use the water heater, because I think it's an interesting metaphor of, leakage, energy
Mm,
leaking, or burnout. I mean, you could, in this where you got to ping into your own energy. How was I feeling as, over the course of maybe a month or two, that even put me in alignment with that. And it's a hard, it's a hard one, because that's not my fault. No, absolutely not. It's not about being
oh,
defensive. It's kind of, was there some kind of energy alignment that made me, that made me a match? And that's different.
yes, yes. It's, I've heard, there's that expression that things always happen in threes. So if
Mhm.
something goes wrong, then there's going to be two more. And then all your energy and attention goes into waiting for the
From the
other
other
things
two,
to
right?
happen. Right.
So
Right.
it
Of
becomes a
course.
self-fulfilling, right? Exactly.
Right.
I think this is exactly what we're trying to talk about with the whole yes thing. It's not something outside of us deciding that. It's us putting ourselves in alignment with it, whether it be something we enjoy or something we don't enjoy. But as we become energy masters, we start to realize we have a hand in the participation of what's going on with us through our
Absolutely.
through our vibration is what I was, yes. So I think, and when before we started the recording, you said something like, there's this yes energy, and it's us saying yes to ourselves too, which I think is a fascinating other, like, nuanced take on this. That we're saying yes to the participation, even though we don't maybe always consciously understand that.
Right. I went to this service at a Unitarian church in my town yesterday, and the minister was she's young and she's new. She's only been there for a couple of years. She came on during COVID, and she was talking about the resiliency that she saw in everybody to stay connected during COVID and to still do community work that they could do. And and so she was telling them how wonderful they were, which was
Mhm.
really, I was just teary eyed the whole time,
Mm.
because it made me think of Pandiji talking about how much we're loved. That's what it felt like. And then she talked about how, interestingly enough, now that COVID was over and they were out and they were coming back together, there's this underlying fear of scarcity.
Mm.
And she was
Mm.
speaking to what we're saying, like, no, we're as a community, there is no scarcity. There's only scarcity if we decide that there's scarcity and fall into it.
Brilliant, beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really lovely.
And it's right on, and again, the yes is, if you want to agree to scarcity, yes. If you want to agree to the suffering, yes. I mean, we are so loved. We can choose, happiness as much as we can choose sadness or fear or unabundance. That's how powerful we are. And that's not to be a threat. It's kind of to be about that consciousness, the conscious creator part. But yeah, when you said that, I was totally feeling my heart open to the community that, can be so beautiful and so supportive and so generous. I love the generosity of heart that comes from a community in abundance and care and sharing and love. It's what I love about a yoga class, right?
Mm-hmm.
boy, you're in there and you're doing the work with each other, and all those energies just keep going up and up and up and up. By the time you're ready for meditation, boy, you're soaring. That's the energy. That then you can mold the clay in a joy way, for sure.
Yes. And she kept using the word abundance as well, which I really loved. This abundance of of joy, and whatever we need is there when we bring ourselves together in community and walk towards it. It was really very inspiring. And because I felt it, you could feel that abundance in the room. It wasn't just a talk about it or a wishful thinking, or it was there.
Mm-hmm. It is here. It is here now. And our minds go, no, 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 but no, it is. And the more the plugging into it and letting it flow into us, that's a yes also. Saying yes to it flowing in and allowing ourselves to enjoy that, then that's the experience I think we came to Earth for, is to have a desire and then have it fulfilled. And all the while through the unfoldment of it's yes, I want to be in, I want to enjoy. Yes, I want you to enjoy. I don't know how to undo it, except to say that it feels like an instantaneous, I want that. The answer is yes. I want that. The felt sense is, of course, that prosper whatever you want to prosper in whatever way you want to prosper it.
Well, I'm not so sure about the in any way you want to prosper it, but I do believe it's there all the time. I think because then we go back to surrendering. Sometimes when we want things to happen in a certain way, we get in our own way. And so that I'm a little more cautious about. I want to tap into joy, but I'm open to being shown and drawn into it and pulled into it. It doesn't have to be my prescription of how that joy happens and what it looks like.
Right. Well, because then your mind starts to jump in and do its games. And a lot of times it's based on scarcity and limitation. We have been taught that. So yeah, I totally agree with you. And thank you for that. When I was just in that zone, I was like, it's, you're in that fun zone or the play zone, and then it does seem to unfold in a joyful way. But there are times when the ego does kind of tend to play its games with that, whatever it is that abundance you're playing, the abundance clay that you're playing with. Yeah. And how do you, like, from a tantra perspective, how do you mold the energy clay so it is an enjoyment experience? Because you talked about vikalpa, which sounded like the energy of lesson learning and being stuck. There must be a way out of the vikalpa.
Of course, it's to acknowledge it and then choose something different. But see, that's where the mind gets in the way. I want to experience, yes, but I have an expectation that there's a particular way to experience yes, or a particular way to get there. And then my mind, that's instantly limiting the abundance that the universe has to offer. There are times when it's important to stay with the desire and not the how to get there part.
I think that's one of the reasons why, when I was thinking about this, I came back to Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is such a beautiful way to be there without letting the mind get in the way of, well, how and when and what do I got to do and all that gaming, that the being in that nidra state where you're in the yogic sleep, but you're really in a creative state in that nidra state.
Correct. Yeah, the mind is still there. If you're in the full yoga nidra state, you are sleeping, dreaming, and conscious of it all. You're watching it. So you're I was going to use the word intellect, but I don't even want to limit it with that. You're in a state of being able to really witness the immense, beautiful, divine power of this universe. And the only thing that stands in our way sometimes is our mind. Like we might actually fall asleep. Or in my experience, sometimes as soon as there's an acknowledgement, oh, I'm in this really open space, and then boom, I'm back in my mind again.
Yeah,
right.
right.
So again, it's one of the lessons that I believe we're learning is to really let go, really let go and allow ourselves to experience more of this universal divine energy and just
bask
hanging
in
it.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy it. Yes, because it has this grace inside of it that is beyond our mind. It's beyond our comprehension. It's beyond any 3D little human idea. It is immense, and it is love. It's what Punjaji was trying to say. It's love beyond our comprehension. And I think it's what we all want to swim in. It's it's almost like when I go to yoga and we're doing the poses and we get to meditation, it's so juicy. It's kind of it's almost like a craving I get now, like, because you want to go there and then you can't make yourself go there, which is totally annoying, but because it's there, right? You're like, oh, that's what we're going for. But I do feel, and when I was preparing for this, I was like, oh, yoga nidra is a way into the yes. It's a way into the yes energy, and it's a way to feel the yes. Does that make sense?
It does, and absolutely it is. It absolutely is.
Because it's such a beautiful way to quiet the mind and put the mind in an available place so it can go, oh, is this what it feels like? Oh, and then the mind starts to become your friend. I've always felt like, wow, like, not because I don't know enough about Zen and stuff, but sometimes the mind gets a bad rap, and you can't trust it and those kind of weird things. But I keep feeling like my mind could be my friend. And I know I'm going to hear stuff like, no, it can't. You can't become your friend until it sits down. But once it feels and knows what that place is, it can't. I feel like it wants to come on board.
Right. I don't think that the intention of our mind is to fight us or prevent us from expanding consciousness or reaching samadhi, which is that bliss state in that they talk about in Yoga Sutras. It is meant to be a help. The idea of these tantric practices is learning how to use the mind and focus it into this yes, if you will. It's a systematic approach for doing that. So I agree with you. I think it's incorrect to say that the mind is a bad thing and it's your enemy and it's going to screw you up anytime. how have we used our mind, and what do we allow, where do we allow our energy to go, and where do we allow our attention to go, and we have the ability to choose differently.
Well, and when I was thinking, I took a class at the beginning of the year about setting your manifestation intentions. And one of the things that the teacher said was, make sure you have at least 10 things on your list, maybe 20, and just keep adding, because your mind wants to keep working on it. And so giving your mind, so that is one of the great things about our minds, is it wants to work at our creations. So give it something that productive, well, it's, for lack of a better word, but something to focus on. So, and I keep getting that when your mind is working on your creations, and then your energy is in that yes, love place, that's where the power creating happens, where we're in alignment. That alignment happens. Your mind, body, spirit, everything is aligned into that prosperity place. And then, life is magical. It just feels magical. And a lot, when you use the word lessons, it's almost like teaching ourselves anew how to consciously create, is what it feels like. I don't know that I was ever taught how to consciously create, except through yoga, except through the works that we've been trying to cultivate and talk about here.
Agreed. We haven't been taught that. These teachings, the teachings of yoga, hatha yoga, tantra yoga, they are this, again, systematic approach to pull your mind with you. Don't fight it or work against it. Pull it with you in this process. Pull all of you together in this process of moving into yes, which is the state of consciousness that's more evolved, that's higher, that's more in touch with our divine self.
Yeah, it almost makes me want to cry when you said it like that. It makes me think how beautiful back to that love place, the abundance place. It's always saying yes, yes. If and I shouldn't call it it. It's like energy and like suspended. I'm waiting. It's waiting for us to put our attention into what we desire, and then all energies start to flow. It's like in a prepared flow state, and all it wants is, and it's unlimited, of course, it's just potential waiting for us to go, I want that. And it's like, okay, and we are activating it. It gets activated. But at the root of it, I think, is love. It does, to bring it back, it feels like love. It feels like unconditional, unlimited, unjudgmental potential, but it touches your heart in a special way that sometimes our minds can't comprehend yet. Right. So how would you wrap up our conversation today?
Well, I have this is from a book written by Adil Pakaval, and there's a quote here from Mother Teresa. Joy is prayer. Joy is strength. Joy is love. Joy is a net of love by which you can catch souls. So it's this, yes, is this net of love.
And it's joy. And I love that we made our intention for this year joy. Enjoyment puts us right into the alignment of the yes. Wonderful. Namaste, everyone. Thank you.
Namaste.